Hey, what is up guys, DRC3 here, back with another My Hero Ultra Impact video, and today we are going to be doing another VE Tower tier list. It has been a long time since I did the last VE Tower tier list, and this is for only UR characters. I know there are plenty of SR characters who are good at VE Tower. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would like to see an SR VE Tower tier list, but this is only for URs. And some of these characters that have been placed in, like I said, I placed them in a long time ago. I think back when like a 6-turn VE Tower was the only thing that was out. Some of these characters are going to need to be moved down, some of them are going to need to be moved up, so on and so forth. And in addition to that, we've also gotten board 13 on character ability boards, so that board 13 has made some characters like a lot better than they used to be, giving them more technicals, crits, and things like that. So there's a lot to take into account. And then of course we have the to be determined down here with all the new characters that we have yet to place at all for the VE Tower tier list. So there is just a lot to do. This might end up being a longer video, we will see. Okay, but let's just hop into it. There's so much to talk about. The very first thing is looking up here at double S difficult, or I want to say difficulty every time, double S tier. These are all characters that should be able to be used anywhere, and since we have the new double S difficulty VE Tower, since we have the new 3-turn VE Towers that you want to get done in 3 turns, some of these characters can no longer realistically be used anywhere. And those characters I would say are probably Purple Todoroki, Yellow Todoroki, Asui, and Purple Aizawa, and realistically probably Amajiki too. Okay, so I don't think any of these characters are really double S tier anymore. I would say I'm gonna move them actually all down. I'm gonna move Purple Todoroki, Yellow Todoroki, Purple Aizawa, I said Asui, and Amajiki all down to S tier. I do think they are all still very good characters, very good units, but you can kind of see my reasoning over here on this tier list. But S rank characters are backup if SS units are missing. So these characters just are still really good, but I think they are like VE Tower specific to certain VE Towers. They can't be used on any VE Tower, so they're not the best, but they are like really good still. My reasoning for moving Purple Todoroki down is just his cooldowns are too long. Same with Yellow Todoroki. Purple Todoroki has crit and plus ultra, which is great, but his cooldowns on his turn, on his action skills are just too long. Yellow Todoroki has like a really good chance to burn, but once again, action skills too long. Asui, she only has 1 damaging skill and she has camouflage, which increases the crit rate of the team, so she's still pretty decent overall, but it just makes it hard to use her when she doesn't really have technical hits or status ailments, so it just makes her a little bit harder to use than other characters. Amajiki, kind of same thing. He has his 1 bind and a technical hit, but other than that he's just kind of lacking. And then also Aizawa, it's just like, it's a similar deal with his cooldowns. His cooldowns are just a little bit too long to make him super viable in those 3-turn, 6-turn runs, whatever you're looking for. But now we do actually have more action skill cooldown characters in memory, so there could be an argument for these characters to be an S tier. You just need a specific coupling of memories and characters, and so for the average player these are going to be S tier units, not quite double S. Whereas characters like Shinso, Yellow Aizawa, Green Todoroki even still, and Purple Dabi, these characters are all phenomenal. Dabi has like the the quadruple burn / hellfire going on. Like, he's just doing so much with his status elements. He's ridiculous. Low cooldowns, really good. Shinso has his bind and defense down and stuff like that. There's just a lot going on with these characters that make them a lot better than these characters down here. These characters are all still very good, but I would say you will more often than not see these 4 characters right here being used in almost every single VE Tower at some point in time. Okay, and then next, let's take a look at the rest of these tier lists. Just let's go over them real quick before I move any more characters. A are good general use characters, team fillers. You can use them in certain spots. Like Purple Bakugo right here, I would say he is a really good VE Tower character. He has his blinds. He can help you get that extra damage when you need that extra damage to get to through a VE Tower. My problem with him, and the reason I'm actually not, I'm going to leave him where he is. The reason I'm not going to put him in S tier is because he sometimes does a little bit too much damage, which limits his uses. Okay, so we're going to keep Purple Fantasy Bakugo right here just because he does too much damage. But other than that, I honestly think Purple Fantasy Bakugo is a really good VE Tower character. And then we have the B tier, which is specific scenario characters. These are characters that can be used in specific scenarios. You're not going to see them used too often. So Uraraka, definitely a good example of that. I would say Mirio is another really good example of that. He's only going to be used in certain situations. That's pretty much what all these characters are right here. I'm still honestly pretty happy with the B characters. So the B characters have like, between all of them, some of them have technical hits, some of them have status elements, some of them have some crit, some of them have evasion like Uraraka and Mirio. So they have a little bit of something going on for them, but not too much. And then the C rank characters here, where you have like Green Hawks, Blue Hawks, Kirishima, Red Kirishima. Okay, all of these are really good examples of PvP characters. They are really good PvP characters. They got good PvP kits, but when it comes to technical hits, when it comes to status elements, when it comes to criticals, they are kind of lacking in those departments. Now, like Kirishima, if you needed a good defensive unit for a certain VE tower that somehow wipes out your team, he might be a good choice because he has the barriers. So he could be used, but it's in a rare case where it's for a specific VE tower. So that's kind of what's going on with these characters right here. And like I said, I'm pretty happy with the characters that are here. Not going to move them around too much. And then we have D tier, which are dangerous to use. They can be good still, like all the way down to D tier can be good depending on the situation, but like Kaminari, we've used him in VE towers before. I know I've used him in a couple of videos. If he paralyzes your own team, it causes problems, but he can actually do massive amounts of damage because he has an attack all plus ultra. I think the hardest hitting attack all plus ultra in the game, so he can be really good. He has status element, it's a really hard hitting plus ultra, but like I said, he can hurt your own team, so you got to be careful with him. And then finally, we have the F tier with the trash cans down here. That might be a little bit harsh, but like, you would think Red Deku, the fantasy Deku, wouldn't be down here in the trash cans tier because you're like, he's really good in PvP. Why isn't he good in VE Tower? Well, he doesn't have technical hits. So if you don't know what technical hits are, I know I've been saying like technical hits throughout this whole video. Technical hits are abilities that a character has that has like stipulations on them or affects the enemy in some way with a status effect. So a technical hit would be like if used in a successfully executed skill chain, then you accomplish this. Okay, so anytime you see something about executing in a successfully executed skill chain, that means that is a technical hit. Some characters have double technicals where it says if executed in a second or later successfully executed, I can't speak, if executed in a second or later successfully executed skill chain, then this happens. Whereas the next effect on that same action skill might say, if executed in a third successfully executed skill chain, then this happens. So that would be a double technical. Some characters have that. SR or Uraraka, the green one, is really good for double technical hits. So anyways, these F tier trash cans basically don't have technical hits, they don't have status elements, and they don't have crits. And they're pretty much all around useless when it comes to VE Tower other than damage or I guess healing in Yayorozu's case. All right, so now that we have gotten that out of the way, that I moved around most of the characters that I really wanted to move around. There is one more. I think I'm gonna move him up. This is a debate in my head, and I've really thought about this one. Overhaul right here. Since he has gotten the additional boards, he goes from a low chance to fear all enemies to a medium chance to fear all enemies if you get his ability board up. And that to me is just really good, and it makes him potentially the best villain VE Tower unit in the game. And so just for the fact that I don't really have many other villain VE Tower units up here other than Toga, I'm gonna move Overhaul up. And then I said other than Toga, but I'm also gonna move Green Toga down because I don't feel like Green Toga, having used her quite a bit now, is as good for proccing the bleed and stuff as Blue Toga is. I feel like on paper she looks better, but then when you use them in game, they're about on par with each other. So they're good units, they're good team fillers, but I don't think you'll see them used too often. Whereas now I think you might end up seeing Overhaul used a little bit more if people get his ability board up to get that extra fear rate. But then again, he might be going back down to A tier on the next VE Tower list. It's just really hard to say, guys. Okay. Now, we are finally done with all the prearranged characters that were in the tier list. I think I'm happy with this. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments up to this point. But now we are going to be placing all of these other characters that have been put into the game since the last time I did this tier list. This is not going to be in any particular order. These characters are not in any particular order of like Shinso's the best, Tadabi's the worst. They're just up there all in that tier together. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're going through this. The very first character we're going to go and place, we're just going to go in order, is Black Whip Deku. Black Whip Deku is already... It makes me happy, it pains me to say this. He's already better than the F tier trash can Dekus. You notice like 4 of them down here are trash can Dekus, but he's also not much better. So he's obviously better than World Heroes Missions and Air Force Deku. I'm gonna put him probably, I think we'll give him B tier. That low B tier. If he was in B tier at all, he'd be very, very low, almost C tier, because he's still just a damage character. But the thing that kind of saves him compared to the other Dekus is he does finally have a status ailment with his Plus Ultra. That status ailment helps him out a little bit. So in terms of his uses, you'll probably see him used more than any of the other Dekus ever in PvE or VE Tower. So just, yeah, I think B tier is fair. I think he is a scenario-specific character for sure. You'll only use him in very specific scenarios if you're lacking other characters or whatnot. All right, next we have Blue All Might. Blue All Might is interesting because, once again, he is a PvP character. He's designed to go through barriers, though, and if any of you guys remember Redestro, the VE Tower, that going through barriers was very, very helpful. And so Blue All Might is actually going to go in B tier as well for a character-specific scenario. He's only really going to be super good in that one VE tower that I can think of. He's good for damage otherwise, but once again, lacking in critical status elements, stuff like that. So that's why he's going to go in B tier, not any higher. And once again, kind of like Deku, I would probably put him towards the lower end of B tier if we were putting this in order. So just keep that in mind. But he is a choice, not the optimal choice, but a choice you can use for VE Tower. Next, we have Gentle Criminal. Gentle Criminal has been a surprising unit since he came out from the most recent Climax battle, and I've really liked him in PvP. I've heard that he breaks the damage cap. I haven't actually seen it myself, but really, really good in PvP. If you saw the PvP tier list, or if you haven't, go check out that video, but he got placed pretty highly on that list. However, I think for this list, he's gonna have to go down here. He's just not all there. He's definitely a PvP design unit, guys. What can I say? Like that's all there is to it. He doesn't have the ability to do the things that you need him to do in VE Tower with critical hits, status elements, and technical hits that other characters can do. So we're gonna put him down here. There might be an argument that he could be like a rarely used character, but I still see almost Kaminari being more useful than him with his attack all and with his status elements, so we're gonna still keep Kaminari above Gentle Criminal. Next, we have Blue Fantasy Todoroki. Blue Fantasy Todoroki is my favorite character in the game because he just has the most universal, versatile kit in the game. He is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. If you have pulled Fantasy Todoroki, you've won the game at this point in time because he's good in PvP, he's good in PvE, he's good in Climax battle, he's just good in everything. Even type disadvantage, he's still good. He's just ridiculous all the way around. And so for that reason, I'm going to put Blue Fantasy Todoroki in double S tier. I don't think anybody's going to have any arguments about that with him having increased critical rate for your team. He has status elements. He gives your team barriers. Like, he is just insane. He lowers defense with his Plus Ultra. There's just so much going on with him. He's actually ridiculous. Next, we have Fantasy Ida. Fantasy Ida is a interesting character because he has the ability to draw aggro and protect your team, making other characters more viable that might not have been viable before, helping you maybe use SR characters that would otherwise die because he can draw aggro off them. He also has the ability to reduce action skill cooldown time, which is nice. But other than that, he doesn't really do a whole lot of, like I said before, what makes a good VE Tower character is having crits, status elements, low cooldowns on your characters and stuff like that, or high plus ultra gauge raise, some of those things going on. He doesn't really have any of that stuff going on for him. So I am actually going to put him in a character specific scenario kind of with Deku. He can be decent depending on the scenario, but he's going to be more of like a filler character where you're going to need other characters to actually get those critical hits, status elements, and technical hits that you need. All right, and then we have Present Mic. President Mike is an interesting character. I have found a lot of success with him in various VE towers, and I really do like him since he came out with his attack all, with his ability to raise plus ultra gauge and stuff like that. I don't think he's double S tier because you're not going to use him in every single VE tower. There's definitely been VE towers where you can't use him, but it feels like more often than not you can use him in the VE tower. So I'm going to put President Mike in S tier. He's actually a really good VE tower character, so if you pulled him, congratulations. Mirko is the new UR character that recently released. Absolutely insane. I can't believe what's happening to her in the anime right now, but Mirko is quite obviously a PvP designed character. She gets more skill impact as she gets more speed and stuff like that. She has the ability to make last stands, and so I don't think she's a very good VE tower unit, to be completely honest with you. You're not pulling her for the purpose of VE tower, really. If you're pulling for her, I would put her honestly down here in F tier. If we're gonna put Gentle Criminal down here, we have to put Mirko down here because Mirko is still just not that great. Like, she's, you know what, I'm really thinking about it. Yeah, no, she's just not that. Well, how are we gonna have Hawks up here? And Hawks has evasion though. I don't think. Okay, actually, we'll move her up to C tier. I wanted to put her in F tier, but yeah, I think she does deserve C tier. You know what? I'm going to go back on my word. I'm going to go back on what I said before. I'm going to move Gentle Criminal up too. Okay, I'm going to move Gentle Criminal up to C tier because they can't both be below. It's either they're both above Kaminari or they're both below Kaminari. I don't think they're on Deku's level. The Dekus are just mad, like, really bad. They're really bad overall. Some of them only have one attack skill and then one skill that raises like power or something like that, and it's just not very good. These two at least have two action skills that do damage, so they can make up for the damage that you need and stuff like that, and so that can make them somewhat useful. And it's kind of the same deal with Hawks, so you'll very rarely see them used unless someone's just trying to reach the damage they need. So I will put them right here in C tier. Okay, next we're going to move on to Mount Lady. Mount Lady has two attack all action skills. The two attack all action skills are phenomenal, really good. She has the ability, once you get her ability board up, to increase her own crit rate. I think it's by like 20% or something like that, so that's pretty decent. However, that's about all she really has going for her, is two attack alls and the ability to raise her own crit rate. And she also boosts pro heroes, I guess. So I would put her probably still up here in B tier with a like very specific scenario type character. You can use her, but it will need to be in a specific scenario with a specific team. Next, we have the Ocean Sun Uraraka. Ocean Sun Uraraka is potentially, in my opinion, one of the best healers in the game. Maybe the best healer. I think I like her more than Najiri now that I've gotten to use her more. That's my personal opinion, though. I know some people are still simping for Najiri, but they're both really good. In my opinion, I think I just like Ochako a little bit better. And in terms of her abilities, the ability to give evasion, to nullify status ailments, and to lower your action skill cooldown time, like everything that she has going on for her on top of healing, I'm going to put her in S tier because I do think she's actually above Najiri just in terms of what she can do for VE Tower with that nullifying of status ailments and stuff that she has going on. Makes her really good as a support type unit. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to place her above Najiri. Next, we have Purple Endeavor. Purple Endeavor is a character that I feel like I just did not really like from the time he released. I got kind of like upset with Purple Endeavor. I was like, yeah, his cooldowns are way too long because he had like a 6-turn cooldown or something like that. And then by the time you would get, his whole kit works around one thing. By the time you would get that one certain stipulation back, you wouldn't be able to use it. It was just really weird. I didn't like Purple Endeavor that much. But since I've been using them, he does have a specific, like, he's had specific VE towers where he's been good for the 6-turn burn. The 6-turn burn is what saves him. The only character in the game that has a 6-turn burn. And so because of that, we're going to put him in a specific scenario character because he can work really well with Dobby. But other than working with Dobby, Purple Endeavor he's very lackluster in my opinion. I wish they had come out with a better Endeavor. Next, we have Red All For One. The red all for one is the climax battle reward all for one. He has the ability to remove buffs like Aizawa. He's just a worse version of Aizawa with worse cooldowns and lacking a second damaging action skill. And so I think he's going to I don't see people using him too often, honestly. I don't see them using him too much. They might use him for debuffs, but really he's not going to be used all that often. So C tier for that one. He's definitely not above Gentle Criminal. I'd say Gentle Criminal and him are about on par for when it comes to PvE content. This is all for one, just overall not great for PvP or PvE. I just don't know what they were thinking with this kit. But anyways, moving on. Twice. Oh man, my boy Twice. If you know, you know. But all right, Twice. We are going to put him probably. He's just a defensive unit. He's kind of like Kirishima. I would put him probably C tier as well. Rarely used. He's definitely a PvP unit as well. And he's going to be good defensively for certain scenarios when you need him to be used in certain scenarios. But other than that, not really used too often. And lastly, we got Deku with the stick, or Yukata Deku. Yukata Deku is not much better than his counterparts. Honestly, he is not very good compared to all the other characters that have stuff going on for them. I would say he's definitely above, like, once again, these are not in order. I would say he's above a lot of the other Dekus here in F tier, but for whatever reason, they just don't like to make Deku with good, like, status element, crit raise, whatever going on for him. So once again, probably F tier when it comes to VE Tower. And yeah, that is my tier list. It's a little bit hard to fit it all on the screen, guys, but you guys can kind of see what it looks like here. We got double S tier. We got 5 characters. There's 5 characters that can be used realistically anywhere. S tier, we got quite a few characters that can be used in different places here and there. They're good filler characters for when you're missing a double S tier character. For A tier, we have about 7 characters. Those 7 characters are still really good. There's an argument for Purple Bakugo, the Fantasy Bakugo, to be moved up to S tier, but I'm going to keep them there for right now. B tier, a lot of characters. C tier, a lot of characters. D tier, 1 character. I don't think there's too many other characters. D tier is kind of its own thing. I don't really know if it fits in correctly on this list, but D tier is kind of its own thing because there's not too many characters that harm your team or yourself other than Kaminari, so he's just kind of in a category all his own. And then you have F tier where you have all the Dekus. Anyways, guys, that is my UR VE Tower tier list for the month, for a while. Let me know how you guys feel about this tier list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are there things you would like me to change the next time I do this tier list? If you guys would like to see an SR VE Tower tier list, please help me get this video to 50 likes. I would really appreciate it. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers, guys. Thank you. Massive shout out. Like, I genuinely mean it. Thank you to everybody that is subscribed to my channel. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.